We decided that here, in America, your America, we were going to build a place. A place where people like you want to be. And here at the American Mall, we know just where you belong. A place where you can find all the things that you need, America. We know where you come from, because right there, that's just where we come from too. We get things done. We build. We create. We like to kick back with a light beer at the end of a long day and put the kids to bed before heading right back out again. America never sleeps, and at all, neither do we, America. You deserve the things you like, in the way you want, just the way you remember. And we collected all those things in one place, so you know just where to find them. Here at the Mall, we take a heritage of yesterday and bring it together with a vision of tomorrow to create the today you wanted to wake up to tomorrow just yesterday. Because every today is just another yesterday's tomorrow, America.
Well, this is some kind of bullshit right here.
What am I even looking at? This whole place was rubble when we left. It was a crater. Am I remembering it wrong? I'm not crazy.
You are crazy, but you're not wrong. The mall was definitely bulldozed. So, what happened here?
Check out this creepy sign. It's just a bunch of weird statements about yesterday and tomorrow and America. It looks like someone rebuilt the mall.
It was never like this, though. Where's the grease? Where are the scum, the villains, the general air of despair? I'm getting no despair air.
Okay, so it's a little cleaner than the place we left, but look on the bright side. There's a sale on, from these confusingly worded posters. There's always a sale on...
And the corner meth dealer isn't anywhere nearby. Okay, I know, it's a bit of a mystery, but I know this much to be true. This, and nothing more than this. I don't know much, but this I do know.
Okay, I'll bite. What do you know?
It's the grand opening, and I'm sick of wandering around the backwoods of this nation on a vaguely explained road trip to nowhere. I want hot cinnamon rolls with overpriced coffee. I want them here, and I want them now. And I'd like a nice, comfy blankie to wrap myself in while I eat it and drink it.
This is so different, you guys. This is not it. They changed everything. It's not a dingy strip mall. This is a legit, real American mall with doors and an atrium and everything. Look, check out this handy map, guys. Apparently we're in the aquamarine zone, but if we head over that way to the teal zone, we can get to the food court.
So we either try to get to the bottom of this mystery, or we stop asking questions and get to some tasty snacks and beverages. Why am I still talking? Let's go!
I still have all of the recording. I must stress, it is really quite heavy.
So, grab one of those convenient shopping carts. Just put a quarter into the little slot to unchain one, you old badger.
But I don't have any coinage. You insisted on hurling my coin purse into a crevasse, simply because I kept referring to it as a coin purse.
That's legit.
Well, no shopping cart for you then. The rules are clearly posted. You can put those in your coin purse.
Yeah. There's a lesson in there for you somewhere if you think about it.
Less confusing, more consuming. Let's move, people.
Door seems acceptable.
This is nice. Calm lighting, soft music. This is actually civilized.
Yes, it's very nice.
What is it, Daniel?
The architecture, the strange corners, the angles that don't quite... There's just something off about this place.
Maybe you're right. Maybe we should just turn around. Oh my God, look!
Could it be? Do mine eyes deceive me?
It could. They don't do. It's actually there, guys!
Okay, now I know there's something weird going on. How could that be there?
An actual video store. Just like it used to be, except not shitty. Come on, guys, we have to check it out. Look, it's the grand opening.
Video ho!
Who are you calling a hoe?
Oh, this will do very nicely. There's different aisles for all the genres. Remember how we used to organize films by weight?
I'll admit there were issues with our previous system of organization, but I still stand by it, damn it.
Oh, shut up. One end of the store was just Titanic.
We're home, everyone. Let's get our layers set up, and we're back in business. I was thinking this time we could get a really big door.
Yeah, of course you were.
Aha, we have customers. Places, everyone.
Welcome, travelers, to this our little video emporium, where everything is arranged in the most scientifically stringent and non-esoteric way for your convenience.
I saw them coming first, guys. See why it was a good idea to get these big old windows? You really gotta know your window situation.
Whoa, man, this is like, pretty groovy shit.
Welcome. Can I interest y'all in some non-alcoholic beverages? We have three different kinds of water. See if you can guess which one is slightly more alkaline, honey.
Speaking as a resident foreigner who is inexplicably part of the group, may I be the first to say, good day.
We have to get fucking out of here.
Retreat!
I nay.
We need to regroup. Find somewhere empty, desolate, and unwanted.
What kind of place would be deserted in here?
Look, a bookshop. Perfect.
Wait, what? What?
What the hell was all that? Those people. They look just like us.
It's wrong. Wrong in so many ways. I tell you, something is up.
We just need to figure out what's going on here, is all.
Guys, they looked uncanny, like they were from some sort of valley. Oh my, books everywhere. Oh guys, look at the books. Look at all the books. It's just so. Oh.
Hold that thought. This will do for our temporary accommodation. I hereby declare this a lair. Everyone, make yourself at home. We need to figure out who these sickening copycats are and what they are doing in what is clearly our video store.
I've been thinking.
A dangerous pastime.
I know. Look, someone is clearly working at some kind of deranged and unspeakable super science here. Obviously, these creatures are the product of science gone mad. Mad!
You mean...
That's right. Someone has created an unholy mockery of life in our own image.
If there's one thing I can't bear, it's mockery of any type, unholy or otherwise.
Hey, you know what? This actually reminds me of a movie, and wasn't it my turn to pick?
Oh, here we go again. Oh, God.
Is this really the time? I mean, look, bookshop. We could do another book club.
It is never not time to conclave. Quickly, everyone, break apart these comfortable furnishings, build a fire, and pile up some of these worthless volumes to serve as crude seats. We gather!
Wait!
Too late, Hope. It's conclave time.
Taking refuge in an unoccupied bookshop in a mysteriously rebuilt strip mall of the damned, glaring balefully across the aisle at a video store now occupied by freakish doppelgangers, the members of a secret society try to continue their work condemning the perverse and heretical, having nothing better to do on a Wednesday. To scrutinize those films which are rumored to drive viewers to madness and dissolution, draw closer, dear listener. Let your trembling ears sup upon the eldritch knowledge of the Cinemania Society.
We the fellows of the Lens Hall do convene to judge if this fine cinema worthy of our esteem, or whether it should be cast down as worthless hokum.
Let us start our present judgment.
We the fellows. Oh.
Welcome, fellow fleeing felons, to this conclave of the Cinemania Society. Please be seated. And welcome to our listeners, to whom I will now issue this warning. We, disciples of the Cinemania Society, have studied the mysteries of the motion picture and meditated upon the silver screen for many years. Therefore, we have become inured to the films we scrutinize, which may contain hazards unsuitable to young and sensitive ears. As such, we advise anyone listening to do so with discretion. Guard your ears carefully, lest you develop a severe and irreversible case of cinemania. Present at our conclave tonight are
Inquisitor Ethan, keeper of the lenses.
Scrutinizer Zachariah, guardian of the door.
Profligator Daniel, possessor of the word.
Auntie Hope, keeper of the books.
Professor Andrea, scholar of San Francisco.
and Verifier Andy, Master Illuminator. Not present at our conclave tonight is Arbiter Alessa, voice from the outer world, due to being in parts unknown and possibly lost in the parking lot. I am Verifier Andy. I will be serving as Pontifex of Presentment for tonight's subject of scrutiny, Frankenstein Unbound, a 1990 film directed by the late, great Roger Corman. Sorry, what was that?
Pontifex. It's pronounced Pontifex.
No,
Pontifex.
It's Pontifex.
No, it's Pontifex.
It's always been
Well,
Pontifex.
I
actually-
will die on this hill. It's Pontifex.
Look it up,
Then die.
motherfucker! Profligator Daniel shall act as Master Castigator for this conclave. Profligator Daniel, present the charges.
With pleasure. Charges for this film include John Hurt trying to look cool in the 90s. John Hurt trying to look cool in his 90s. Creature designs that look like someone shaved a Furby and added extra thumbs.
It's called a skin bee, thank you.
Criminal underuse of Raul Julia. Massive amounts of walking around. Trademark. Excessive Lord Byron. Insinuating that Mary Shelley was not, in fact, the godmother of science fiction. Driving a talking car without a license. I'll add some more later. Excessive influence from Star Trek The Next Generation. Possibly inspiring the Cybertruck. Ooh. Okay. Serious trigger warnings do include violence and gore.
A little bit of
Thank you.
nudity in there, too.
Like a nipple.
That's not really a trigger warning. That's just
Yeah,
R-rated.
that's- I guess.
That's PG-13 at best.
yeah.
As long as there's not more than 3.
Thank you, Profligator Daniel. Now, if you want to know about freakish abominations of science, you have to go back to the source, by which I mean Frankenstein. And he's unbound.
What does that even mean?
I'm with you on that one, Zach.
Oh, I think I saw a different film. That was Frankenstein Unzipped.
Oh.
Isn't it Zach who usually finds those films?
Not always.
I was going to say, can you send me a copy of that?
Remember that time when RoboCop shot Frankenstein in the dick? It's okay. They sewed it back on.
Frankenstein shot first.
Commence the reading.
So the film opens to a vaguely biological shots of various slimes and oozing stuff bubbling around to a classical soundtrack. So you know this is going to be a serious and arty film that deals with issues and stuff. Roger Corman was known for his grindhouse exploitation flicks, but he's making an effort here. He's got together actual proper actors and there's real music playing, so you know he's taking this seriously. There's not going to be deadly piranhas or death races or anything. This is practically art house.
I could use a death race in this movie.
I was going to say there might have been a death race or two in this movie, if I recall.
Yeah, you say that like it's a good thing.
I do.
It is.
Somewhere in the distant future, probably beyond even the year 2000, if you can imagine it, a lone figure crosses a desolate, icy waste. Einstein once said of the atomic bomb that if he knew what it would lead to, he would have been a watchmaker. And this wanderer is feeling the same way. Presumably, this was a dark warning about the horrors of atomic Rolexes that might have been. Turns out that this man is John Hurt, who has apparently wound up stuck on a glacier after the adventure we are about to witness. He looks exactly as haggard and weather-beaten as you'd expect someone who has been trudging through an icy hell to look. But this is John Hurt, so that's not really saying much.
No, it's pretty much a Tuesday for him.
Our old buddy John Hurt back again.
Well, he's not that old in this movie yet. He just, he's John Hurt, so he
just looks that way.
He was born at the age of 40.
His vocal cords were born at the age of 70.
No, it's because he started smoking around the same time as he started on solid food.
That was his solid food. Just chewing on filters.
They replaced his bottles with ashtrays.
It's flashback time to explain how the whole blasted ice hell came to be. John Hurt is playing our hero, Dr. Buchanan, who's been working on some kind of futuristic superweapon in the near future. Things seem pretty normal, except that there are strange reports in the news of things and people slipping through time for some reason.
Yeah, no big or anything.
No.
I love when they use news reports to give us the background, for news reports for exposition.
Dr. Buchanan feels that this is absolutely nothing to do with his experimental mega laser weapon. It's pure coincidence that while he's been testing the thing, weird rips in the fabric of space-time have been popping up. Why, he's merely a scientist looking to make the world a better place by devising terrifying weaponry that can change the face of war forever. It's a little unclear why he thinks this is such a great idea, but Dr. Buchanan is all in on the idea. Laser disintegrators, that's the answer. Diplomacy and treaties are for tree-hugging hippies. You don't need to worry about UN resolutions when your enemy is a smoking hole in the ground. Peace in our time, or at least sometime. More on that later.
Time.
Yeah. Doctor Who, timey-wimey, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about UN resolutions when the UN is a smoking hole in the ground.
The whole general mishmash.
He must have found Nikola Tesla's lost notes, the ones that were confiscated by the Pentagon.
Oh, yeah. That's a real thing.
Dr. Buchanan demonstrates his particle beam eliminator weapon to an impressed military contingent and once again laughs off the terrifying rips in space appearing in the atmosphere as just a temporary side effect and definitely no big deal. But once the demonstration is over, he admits to a science buddy that it's totally a big deal. And if he doesn't figure out how to stop these rips in time, then it's the end of the world. Still, at least he secured another round of funding from the military, so, silver linings.
The funny thing is, if this had been a few years ago, watching this scene, I would have been like, okay, this is goofy. This is definitely kind of cartoonish. Now it's like, no, this is how technologists work. Nope. No, they totally would have just been like, yeah, no cause and effect here.
You guys were definitely causing that effect. Oh, shit.
He heads out of the lab and heads home in his awesome space-age electric car, which looks like a silver Batmobile crossed with a Prius. It has a nifty onboard talking AI. That sure is convenient. It's like a sexy Alexa with a shitty 90s CRT monitor screen. Just to be clear, he has a talking supercomputer built into his car that can do way more than anyone would reasonably require a carputer to do. That will come up later.
So this is supposedly 2031, and they're using a peak of design from 1988, a concept car called the Ital Design Aztec.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's foreboding.
Aged like milk.
Nothing has ever made an Aztec.
Well, also, it was the early 90s when pretty much any car you're going to have in a movie, it's like, well, it's got to be a talking car. Everybody loved it in Knight Rider.
Man, it's like the demon spawn of Kit and a Cybertruck.
Kind of is.
Well, it makes the same noise that we'll just say certain electric cars from a certain manufacturer make. Somebody was inspired by movies in exactly all of the wrong ways.
Yeah, no, it's distinctly possible that the sound they implanted in the cars in Teslas to make them you can hear them coming, they stole from this movie.
Wait, they did that?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I fucking hate those things so much.
A lot of electric cars have to have a sound so you hear them coming. Because they kept bumping into people. People wouldn't hear them coming.
Cause and effect.
That's just a little side effect. That's no big deal.
Is it a bug or a feature?
Well, someone obviously spent a lot of money on this car. It's not just a prop, it's a fully working vehicle and probably cost as much as noted thespian John Hurt. So Roger Corman gets his money's worth out of showing it off. And that's great and all, but get used to lingering scenes of beautifully shot scenery as people move from one place to another, because that's about a third of the film.
Yeah. Gets kind of old quick.
There's a lot of, ooh, look at my cool car. Let's just watch it for a while.
Frankenstein the car ad.
For reasons that are entirely unclear, A bunch of local kids are in his garden holding a little funeral for an old bicycle. They've dug a grave and everything.
I think they're his children, aren't they?
No, not his kids. They're just kids.
One of them's even talking in Latin. Far from seeing this as another excellent opportunity to deploy a death ray, Dr. Buchanan indulges the horrible little brats in their neon 90s outfits. Presumably, this is a metaphor for how we grieve for old technology or some bollocks. It's unclear. It doesn't matter, though, because there's another of those inconvenient time rips right then and there. For a brief moment, a brutal Mongolian warlord appears on a horse and seems really quite rude. Things might progress to the level of frank impoliteness until the time rip swallows that poor Mr. Genghis back up again. Yes, it's starting to look like the super science and death rays are a bit of an environmental concern. No time to worry about that, though, or maybe lots of time. Because Dr. Buchanan's awesome car gets sucked through another time rip and wind up in the middle of the lovely countryside in the mountains.
Well, who could have seen that coming?
I do like how he like tried to protect his children. He told them to go in the house and stuff, but then that's the last we hear about his children ever for the rest of the movie. He doesn't talk about going home or seeing his kids or family ever again.
It's never really established that they are his kids, you know? They're just some kids.
Yeah, he says they're just local kids. He says it in the
I thought
car.
that two of them were his children because he sends them back into his house.
No, he's just like, oh, look, there's a horseman with a spear. Go in the house. He's being nice.
Are you sure?
When there's people out there that might kill kids, you might want to let them inside, even if they're not your kids.
He doesn't seem like that type.
Right?
He drives around for a bit trying to piece things together, but it's pretty obvious he's randomly been hurled back in time. Let's just get that out of the way from the jump. It kind of takes Dr. Buchanan an embarrassingly long time to figure that out, considering he's well aware there have been some weird time hold shenanigans going on. If anything, he ought to be the one person in this movie to figure the crap out straight away. Even as he's hiding the car in a convenient nearby barn, like how in Back to the Future Marty McFly has to hide the DeLorean, he's still asking the AI whether she's sure there are no radio stations. I mean, come on, man. Just get it, you know? You're back in time. There's peasants and shit.
It's like someone pitched this movie and said, what if we made Back to the Future, but this time he meets Frankenstein?
It turns out that he has fallen all the way back into 1817, Geneva, Switzerland, to be precise. And once again, Roger Corman wants to show off where the budget went. All of this is happening on location in the beautiful, idyllic countryside and the lovely historical old town. And Corman wants us to know about all the effort that went into making it all look so great. You know what that means, kids? Lots more shots of John Hurt going from place to place in spectacular locations. And to be fair, the locations in this film are great and wonderfully shot. It's just it gets a little bit like an episode of Lovely Holidays with John Hurt, which John Hurt has a lovely holiday, all the while looking like a leathery mummy with 90s hair. Yes, John Hurt is still his usual weather-beaten self we know and love. He looks exactly as ancient and fragile as he did 2 decades ago in The Shout.
I don't know. He looks like he's filled out a little bit more. Although I will say that for somebody who is a consummate professional, the performance that he gives in this feels like he was phoning it in. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he is really good in anything he's in, but he really feels like he's like, I don't know what this shit is, but I suppose I'll do my best.
Yeah, it's clear that he could just be doing this in his sleep. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it probably was. But yeah, he looks oddly meatier in this than he does in other, he doesn't look quite like the bundle of mop handles.
You think maybe he was stoned and he just had the munchies a whole bunch?
It's because he has a talking head style wide 90s suit on.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
You may find yourself going through a rip in time.
No, he's got a couple of shirtless scenes in this. I feel like he was warned about that and he's like, oh, I better put on some abs for this movie.
I'll have an entire chicken nugget tonight.
I needed to put on some weight, so I smoked 2 packs.
On the way into the town of Geneva, while walking through the forest, Dr. Buchanan is briefly menaced by an owl, which would be funny, but an average owl could probably lift John Hurt and carry him off if we wanted to. He then spots the carcasses of some dead animals, which look like they have been viciously attacked. Oh, by, I don't know, some kind of monster or something. Probably no big deal.
Foreshadowing.
5 shadowing.
When he reaches town, people are naturally a little bit curious about this oddly dressed stranger who isn't even wearing knee-high white tights or a floppy tweed hat or anything, like a normal person.
Yeah, this was the point where, like, It especially is like, and you still haven't gotten a clue about what time period you're in. You just walked into a tavern where everyone looks like they stepped out of Bridgerton. What the fuck?
Few clues there, yeah.
Dr. Buchanan feels hungry after his travels, so he stops at a local inn. And of course, he has no local currency. Seriously, the super scientist who creates lasers for a living and is quite clearly stuck in the past actually gets his wallet out before realizing, oh yes, they don't actually accept American Express in 19th century Switzerland. Like that's some kind of shocker. Come on, man. The peasants will have figured this out before you. Peasants.
He's literally stood there with his wallet open and his credit cards in full view going, oh, of course, you won't accept any of these. Oh.
This is where the movie shifts from being a car ad to an American Express ad. It's everywhere and every when you want to be.
Fortunately, he has a solid gold ring, which he can sell for some quick cash. We're working on Highlander 2 rules. You can always pawn off some jewelry to get enough for the change of clothes and bed for the night that you need. First things first, though, time for some dinner.
So that's actually a thing, like like an old thing, like sailors would wear earrings that were worth enough that they could like be buried or sent home if they died at sea, or they would or have a necklace or something that they could sell if they didn't have the local currency or if they ran out of other stuff. I mean, I don't know how true it is. I tried to look up the history of it, but it's a common like tale. And even supposedly that's why Morgan Freeman always wears his gold earrings, because they're enough to buy a coffin.
And it worked for Sean Connery in Highlander 2 as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, the inn is full of rustic peasant types who don't exactly look great for conversation.
Like Sean Connery in Highlander 2.
However, there's one chap alone at a table by the fireplace who looks a bit more promising for a chat. Is immediately, obviously, he's a man of culture because he's the only person in the inn who has a tablecloth and an actual silver candelabra in front of him. He actually has the big brass balls to sit there reading a newspaper, acting like he isn't a total fancy boy who loves messy drama.
Yeah, if you look at the other denizens of the inn, they're all just at a wooden table with a little tankard of ale. And then there's this one guy who's got an actual candelabra and like a gravy boat and silverware.
Well, he's in the first class section of the restaurant.
Yeah, he's like, who's that? Must be a king. Why? He's the only one not covered in shit.
How can you tell?
Well, Dr. Buchanan glances at the newspaper briefly and sees the date. And hark, it is 1817, the 22nd of May to be exact, and a Tuesday to be precise. And the stranger he's dining with happens to be none other than Victor Frankenstein, played by Raul Julia.
I like how it's a newspaper for him to actually believe the date. He had to barter his rig and do all this stuff. And now I get it.
Which means that while this may have been the most significant day in Dr. Buchanan's life, for Frankenstein, it was a Tuesday.
Hey.
Literally.
And fans of Super Schlockfest Street Fighter 2, the movie, will realize how awesome that is. And Frankenstein takes his odd dinner guest in his stride. He finds Buchanan's clothes and digital watch to be a little bit interesting, but seems to assume that this is just some new development from America. They got John Hurt, but the plot has an American scientist, so he just has to sort of roll with that and act like he isn't the most obviously British guy to ever put a tax on tea.
Pay up by the cup, you colonial scum.
And so we established that Frankenstein is an actual, real, historical person within this film. But Dr. Buchanan is kind of starstruck to meet him, saying that he has heard of Frankenstein's work. But it's unclear what that means. Does Dr. Buchanan believe that he is meeting a fictional character in some way? Or within this film, is the crazed meat-sculpting monster masher Frankenstein an actual historical figure?
Either that or Dr. Buchanan just can't tell the difference when he's reading fiction or nonfiction. And he just read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. He's like, this lovely white paper.
Fiction, it's true crime.
This is a paradox that is only going to get worse. Regardless, Frankenstein views this odd newcomer as a mildly interesting diversion, but he really has more important matters to attend to.
Like something alive. Very alive.
Frankenstein leaves and gets into one of those awesome horse-drawn carriages where you bonk on the ceiling with your stick and say something like, "Drive on and don't spare the lash. Half a threepence if you make Shropshire by daybreak." Acting apparently on a whim, Dr. Buchanan leaps onto the back of the carriage to grab a ride. Kind of like in Back to the Future, where Marty McFly is clinging to the back of the car on a skateboard.
I wonder if someone's going to fall into a pile of manure.
Or when he clings onto the back of that other car with his hoverboard.
Frankenstein orders the coach to stop in the middle of nowhere at the dead of night in the middle of a dramatic storm. What kind of skullduggery could he possibly be up to, we wonder? What on earth might Victor Frankenstein be doing in secret on dark and stormy night we muse in the complete innocence. Dr. Buchanan creeps closer, hoping to find out what's going on, but he can't get a good view because John Hurt has difficulty clambering up a shallow incline. He hears Frankenstein arguing with someone monstrous. Frankenstein calls him a beast. He's apparently not up for playing nice. But before he can hear more of the conversation, Dr. Buchanan slips on some rocks and falls. He takes a hit to the head and slips out of consciousness.
Oh, no.
It does not take much to knock this guy out.
He is a leaf on the wind, after all.
Wait. This is all fine, but what does it have to do with our current situation, man?
You fool! Don't you see?
It doesn't sound like this movie is giving us much good advice here.
You fool! Don't you hear?
What?
We need to get to the bottom of this mystery. Something fishy is going on.
You fool! Don't you smell?
Make more sense, friend, or I'm gonna punch you in the mouth.
You fool! Don't you taste? Oh, ow! Yes, thanks. I needed that.
And here's your change.
And that was excessive. All right, let me explain. I'm going to need some diagrams.
Bring out the great big blackboard. Hurry up, you malingerer. Wait, where's the chalk? You forgot the chalk.
1 moment. I'll be right back.
We need to find a way to pay him less. Could we arrange for him to actually owe us money?
Too late.
My wrist. Here, the chalk.
Give me that.
Oh, my aching fingers, the white demon, the chalky burdens.
Who are you calling a white demon?
All right. So we have a group of freakish creatures created in the glorious, perfect image of real people. Let's call them...
Evil usses.
Right. So clearly what we're looking at here is a terrifying Frankenstein flesh monster situation. Someone has manufactured these meat marionettes in mockery of me, mainly.
Evil monsters created to imitate us, presumably from spare parts or something horrible like that. Wait, evil usses? What is this, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey?
That's the most scientific thing I can think of right now.
Station.
I'll allow it.
It all makes so much sense. And definitely the first wild idea that comes to any one of us is definitely always the right idea. So let's just go with that. So what do we do about it then?
We continue the movie and plan everything we do based on the lessons we gather from weird cinema. Same as always.
Makes sense.
I'm on board.
I'll start paying attention from now. Swear.
There better be an actual plan coming out of all of this.
Where the hell did you get a blackboard from anyway? And why drag it in here? This is supposed to be a bookshop, guy. You're ruining everything.
This is different from us how?
On with the movie!
Deep in one of those dreams you have when you get knocked out at a dramatic moment and start thinking about your life, Dr. Buchanan is walking through a bunch of moaning dead peasants. Who is responsible, he asks. Who do you think, replies a sinister robed figure, who we will never see again, nor will we have any further bearing on the whole fucking movie.
Foreshadow. Oh, no, it actually
No, it really, yeah. It is.
Just a sort of generic, threatening figure, that's all.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I might as well have just been saying, boo to the Prince of Putrescence. Dr. Buchanan wakes up in the daylight being menaced by a couple of dogs. Basically, every creature in this film wants to menace John Hurt in some way. Might be the chemical smell.
You think it might have been the plague dogs?
It might just be a thing with him at this point. Since his last trip into town didn't really get anywhere, he heads back to his car and starts talking things over with the AI while he thinks things through. He's finally accepted that, yes, he has traveled back in time. Well done. And he asks the computer to calculate the exact settings to reverse the time slippage using the deadly experimental laser device that he has in the trunk.
Because, that worked out great the first time.
Yeah, he keeps it in the trunk. This isn't an oversight I forgot to mention earlier. We had no idea that he was actually carrying the fucking thing around with him until now. The computer reckons it can work out the calculations, but it's going to take a little while, so it looks like Dr. Buchanan will have to cool his heels here in the past.
Because, that's exactly what you want for the pacing of any movie. It's like, you know what? This is going to take a while, so just play a bunch of scenes while we wait.
Yeah, just set up an arbitrary timer and look around.
I mean, it was quicker than deep thought.
Yeah, I was thinking deep thought too. Tricky. May take a while.
7.5 billion years.
I don't know.
It's not like a film needs urgency or anything.
No.
Especially not when people are rapidly being killed and sucked through time portals and threatened by Mongolian warlords and such.
That's a future problem.
Now, he could just get a place to stay and keep his head down for a few days and not involve himself in the goings-on around town. That would be the sensible thing to do.
And the prime directive thing to do.
And lead to his problems being resolved as efficiently as possible, while avoiding changing history in any problematic way. However, Dr. Buchanan decides it would be far wiser to have a look around and see what historical figures can interact with. Much like how Marty McFly ended up accidentally meeting up with the people in the past and influencing them in Back to the Future, but
Yeah, this movie of all time travel movies that I've seen, is the only one that, it just fucking ignores the whole butterfly effect. And we're like, fuck it. Nobody's worried about changing the future. We're just going to do it.
I mean, I feel like that was his attitude from the beginning. Shooting giant lasers in the sky. It's opening weird rifts. Yeah, fuck it.
That is fair.
I mean, it's probably causing problems, but meh.
Yeah, no, the John Hurt School of Science really is fuck around and find out. It's like, we fuck around because we want to find out.
But aren't you at least a little bit curious?
So after yet more walking around in spectacular scenery, a lot of walking, a lot of fucking walking, it might as well have been Christopher because he was walking, Dr. Buchanan gets fitted out with the latest drip, and he looks all the Riz no cap.
Okay, that hurt.
One advantage of getting in.
Yeah, that's right.
That hurt so hard. Oh, God.
One advantage of getting a noted theatrical thespian in your movie is that they can rock a top hat and a frock coat with ease. All is not well in Geneva, however. The good citizens gather at the courthouse, and Buchanan looks in as a trial is being held. It appears that a terrible murder has taken place, and since the gruesome murder of a young boy, William Frankenstein, could only have been committed by a creature with monstrous strength, some kind of monstrosity, a real monster, and naturally the townfolk have found a young girl to be tried for witchcraft.
Yeah, a lady who looks like she couldn't snap a twig.
Yeah, no doubt. To be fair, considering that there's an actual Frankenstein situation going on, witches are probably a pretty plausible explanation for all the weirdness. Always ready to keep up with the latest gossip, Dr. Buchanan has a look around and spots a beautiful lady in the crowd watching the case, and finds out that she is Mary Godwin, later to be known as Mary Shelley, wife of famous poet Percy Shelley, the scandalous mistress of even famouser poet Lord Byron. Ooh. Dr. Buchanan is obviously going to get all up in that whole business because it's not like he has anything better to do. He introduces himself as a fan of her work, but of course she hasn't written anything yet, so she has no idea what the fuck he is going on about.
Yeah, see, this is where it's like, so wait, did he think it was fiction? Nonfiction? He's a fan of her work? Does he think she's a scientist? A journalist? A novelist? What the fuck?
Does he care one iota about ruining the future?
I mean, clearly the film doesn't.
I'm guessing we won't find out.
Because fuck you, that's why.
Very well said. The young girl is found guilty of murder, but whatever, man. That's a sideshow, and Dr. Buchanan notices Frankenstein lurking about, which is way more interesting. He's basically just bouncing around, having a whale of a time. He follows Frankenstein again to another meeting in the forest outside town, and this time it's in broad daylight. So he gets a good view as Frankenstein wanders onto the bridge and announces that he's here. Before Dr. Buchanan can wonder who Frankenstein could possibly be meeting secretly, he is grabbed by a huge, misshapen figure. Why? It's a monster! Who could have seen that coming?
I mean, not John Hurt. He can't figure fuck all out in this movie.
No. The monster calls out to Frankenstein that he better be given what he wants or else he's going to start crushing some dudes up in this forest glade. I don't know why I went Scottish with that. It's quite a compelling argument. Frankenstein, however, believes that the best way to win a debate is to turn up with a fucking gun. That's right. And pulls an old-timey flintlock pistol out.
We're playing by Indiana Jones rules again.
Right. If only he had John Hurt's mega super laser weapon. This movie would have just cut to end credits.
Yeah, no shit. The first shot misses, but sure gets the monster's attention, and the two of them have it out. Why create something only to then want to destroy it? The monster quite reasonably asks. While calmly reloading the pistol, Frankenstein retorts that the monster has been going around murdering, which is not cool, you know. The monster has no concept of this. It doesn't understand that murder is wrong. In fact, the monster quite reasonably points out that he never asked to be made this way. He is miserable and alone and wants only to have another maid like him to ease his loneliness.
Fuck mail order brides. He wants a maid-to-order bride.
Yes.
Right.
Frankenstein listens to this with a calm and rational demeanor of someone loading an old-timey flintlock pistol getting ready to blow their fucking brains out. Frankenstein gives the monster exactly as long to speak his piece as it takes to get the gun ready, announces that he will never make more of them, and takes another shot. Frankenstein really doesn't want to do the whole art of conversation thing.
Which is a shame considering it's Raul Julia.
Yeah, Frankenstein just turned up ready to absolutely go to town.
Yeah, he's not fucking around.
Well, apparently loading those old pistols can take like up to 3 minutes, so he had enough time to talk.
Yeah, Raul Julia's like, yeah, interesting
Yeah,
point.
go on.
Where's my bullet? Right, okay, yeah, powder
Now
horn,
hold
all right.
still for just a second. I want the flash to get just right.
You know, I've actually shot one of those flintlocks, and one of the things that's interesting is after you pull the trigger, there's still like a second or two before it actually shoots. You know, so it really is.
Oh, Jesus. So you're like, and now hold perfectly still.
Yeah, so you shoot, and you still got to just like fucking hold your hand there, and then the kick is like a motherfucker too. So
Yes, a more elegant weapon from more civilized times.
yeah. Needless to say, the monster flees. Dr. Buchanan now tries to reason with the gun-toting nutter. He just knows what Frankenstein has created and urges him to tell the world and own up to it, if only to save the life of the poor girl who he's now fucking interested in, who was denounced as a murderous witch. Frankenstein comes back with a rebuttal of, fuck you, science rules, I do what I want. The girl is just collateral damage. I mean, in heightened 19th century language, yeah, but that's about the gist of it.
Yeah, no, like John Hurt takes such a 180 from like, oh, a trial. This is an interesting theater for me to watch while I'm waiting for my car to do its algorithm, to like, now for like, I don't know what, the next third of the movie, he's fucking obsessed with like trying to vindicate this girl.
Yeah, he's like, let's save the girl.
I think it's because he feels guilty about what he did, and so he's trying to get someone else to be better because he was shitty and ruined his world.
I think he's only interested even a little bit in things that are involved, even in a tangential way, with celebrities. He's just following around whatever celebrity figure he can find.
He's just fanboying all over the movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's funny.
It's just like, no, man, you need to be better than I am. I looked up to you, dude.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pot and kettle work going on here.
Yeah. However, after a bit of arguing, Dr. Buchanan gets Frankenstein to agree to write a letter explaining the whole deal and that the girl is innocent. The concept of a ballpoint pen, though, really seems to tickle him. These future inventions of Dr. Buchanan really are something.
I know, he just looked at the digital watch like, yeah, whatever, you know, but the ballpoint pen, oh my God, blew his fucking mind, right?
Yeah, that's nothing, Zach. Get to the car.
Not to mention the electric car, which Frankenstein also thinks is really neat. He gives one of those, are we alike, you and I, speeches, which is somewhat ominous, because it is fucking Frankenstein.
And it's also Raul Julia.
Yeah. However, the important thing is that he has written a letter explaining the situation as Dr. Buchanan asked him to. Frankenstein advises Dr. Buchanan to take the letter, in a sealed envelope, mind you, to his fiancée Elizabeth. As she is from a good family, the judge will listen to her. Everything will be sorted out. All will be well. Because it's not what you know, it's who you know. Remember how the monster ran away before? Well, that night, it shambles into town when there is a fireworks display and general merriment going on. The poor creature is confused by all the noise and lights, and it really does not understand this world of men.
Like a dog on the 4th of July, man.
When a local wanders up and demands to know what's going on, the monster rips out the poor chap's heart in frustration.
Kalima Shakti.
You might say he had a lot to get off someone else's chest, huh?
No, you don't have to say that.
Really got to the heart of the issue there.
Yeah.
You're just trying to find the rhythm of this joke, aren't you?
The monster's really got his finger on the pulse.
You're just beating this joke to death.
I see what you guys did there, and I don't like it. The next morning, Dr. Buchanan makes his way to the home of Elizabeth, fiancée of Frankenstein, in order to deliver this letter in a sealed envelope, remember, which is going to sort out this whole mess. Slight problem at this point, however. The letter says nothing about the murder at all. It just warns Elizabeth to skip town immediately for her own safety. Frankenstein has done a little trick. Whoopsie! Dr. Buchanan had no way of knowing, of course, that Frankenstein would have a problem with blowing up his whole career and exposing the secret of unholy experiments to the world. I mean, whoever could have seen that one coming? Dr. Buchanan has no idea where Frankenstein has gone. But things are getting serious. A young girl is going to be executed for murder she didn't commit, and he's getting frantic about it.
Because suddenly he cares.
Since Elizabeth throws him out, Buchanan decides to go for a drive in the countryside to clear his mind and have a long chat with his talking car, like a withered British night rider in a silk waistcoat. He asks the car for a 90s equivalent of Mary Shelley's wiki page, and it is even able to print out a copy of her novel for him to peruse.
That's handy. Pretty convenient. How much paper is that car just holding inside it, though?
I like how he's just driving around like with no concern.
Well, like, he's so urgent about saving this girl. Oh my God, we gotta save her. And then she's like, no. And he's like, oh, shit, I have to do something. I'll drive around for a while. Just
he's like, I'm in the past. He's not like thinking about conserving his gas or the electricity for the car or anything. Like, he's just going to waste it all. Like, what if he needs it later? He's not thinking about the future.
I think he's, the car is fueled off of plutonium Nyborg, so.
I just love the printing out of the novel, and I'm like, that reminds me of my old, like, 3-ring printer with the holes on the edges.
Yeah, it even does the dot matrix sound like, like, where in that sleek little car, along with all the other car things, does it keep that much paper?
It's got reams in the trunk. It's like the CD changers you used to have where you put like 7 CDs in the trunk, you know?
If they wanted to go for realism, you know, it should be like, I'm sorry, your cyan color is low.
Yes, I'd like you to service my future electric car, please, and do fill up the reams of paper for the printer in case I want to print off some books or something while I'm on the road.
I was just picturing like another like 20-minute sequence where he's like trying to figure out how to make cyan ink and put it into his printer.
We imagined all these other things, but no one imagined a Kindle. Got to print those books.
Yeah. So at this point, it's clear that within the world of this movie, Frankenstein is a famous fictional novel. But at the same time, Dr. Buchanan has gone back in time and met the actual real Frankenstein, who apparently really did create the monster, meaning that Mary Shelley didn't come up with shit. Her book was just reporting on real events, making her accidentally a hack who never had a decent idea in the first place. So, is she a writer or not? And since Dr. Buchanan is now part of the events going on, is he actually responsible for the book in the first place? Huh?
Well, I think no matter what, she's still a writer. It's whether she was writing fiction or true crime.
It's like when Marty McFly accidentally invents rock and roll at the end of Back to the Future.
Yeah, it's kind of like how in Back to the Future, it's like, well, it's not like black people could invent good music, right? This is when this is like, oh, it's not like Mary Shelley could actually have a creative idea herself. No.
Right?
She just observed it.
Yeah, well,
that's one thing I absolutely hated about this. I'm like, she's the fucking mother of science fiction. She invented the genre. Don't you dare besmirch her name. Get your name out of your slutty mouth.
They didn't really think through the implications of what they were actually saying with that. Yeah.
No, they might have.
They're just like, women, fuck her.
Literally.
Well, yeah, as we see in later scenes, like, yes, that is what they are good for. Orgies.
Wait, so what's the lesson here? It's all about Back to the Future?
No, the lesson is you have to solve all your problems with time travel.
This isn't Star Trek. What do you mean?
I thought the lesson is when someone is threatening you, you just fucking shoot them with a gun. Oh, no, wait. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? The bit with the guy and the indie and the shoots him in the dick.
No. That's RoboCop you're thinking of, which is also about reanimating the dead into a monstrous, invincible new form. You know, a cop.
Stop quoting classic 80s action movies. That's not what any of this is about at all.
Well, get on with it then. Do we have a plan yet?
Indeed we do. We'll expose their wicked scheme of evil with a carefully considered letter-writing campaign.
What about when the monster pulled that guy's heart out? That was pretty cool.
Okay, now you're thinking about Temple of Doom.
Shut up!
Temple of Doom? Well, this is not anything
It's not Indiana Jones related in any
No.
way. Just going all the way back to
The one I saw was called Fap to the Future.
Oh, you guys.
The Cinemania Society was written, produced, and performed by Andy Slack, Daniel Scribner, Hope Bravo, Ethan Ireland, Andrea Palladino, and Zachariah Burks. Editing and sound design by Ethan Ireland. Music by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Incidental music and sound effects courtesy of Epidemic Sound and Wikimedia Commons. The Cinemania Society is a work of fiction. Unless otherwise indicated, all of the names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents appearing in this audio play are either the product of the author's imagination or are used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living dead, or actual events is purely coincidental and or part of a work of parody that should not be construed as making statements or allegations of actual fact. All celebrity voices are impersonated unless otherwise stated. The Cinemania Society is available on social media. You can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky, and our Reddit feed at r/The Cinemania Society. You can also email us at thecinemaniasociety.gmail.com. You, yes you listening right now, please take a second to drop us a line, because not only are we dying for an excuse to do a listener mail episode, we'd genuinely love to hear from you.